I just wanted to put together a little video with the hitches that I've come up with so far. So this is the FMS K10, and the hitches I have so far are the receiver hitch and a shortened version of the one created by Jax's 88 on Thingiverse. Basically, this one is fixed and it attaches the same way, and it's a little bit shorter than the one he had created. He's got some other accessories on his Thingiverse page, and I might try making some of those. The hitches attach using the 2 frame screws that are located here, and if you have a ball end Allen wrench, 1.5 ball end Allen wrench, you can do it without even taking the body off, or you could do it with just a regular Allen wrench and 1/4 inch turn, or take the body off. It's up to you. And that's how they attach. He did a really good job of aligning up the holes and everything in the side of the hitch and in the frame. So it's pretty much screwed on. Originally, I had this as a 1mm wall thickness, and I wasn't sure about the strength of it, so I upped it to a 2mm wall thickness. The size of the opening is 8.3 millimeters by 8.3 millimeters. So all the adapters that go in there are 8 by 8 millimeters. So if you wanted to create something of your own, it would just have to be 8 by 8 to fit in there. I added the attach points for safety chains. The receiver has a 3mm hole going through there, and I believe it's actually 3.2 millimeters because the pins I use are 3, so I slightly oversized the hole so it fits in well. The receiver is big for scale. I mean, it might be slightly scale on the 1/10 size truck, but on this truck it's oversized, but it's very practical. If I were to make it scale size for this, it would be a lot harder to get the pins in and out and use. So it really looks pretty good, actually, even though it is slightly overscale. And if you're doing all these mods and 3D printing stuff, you're definitely going to want to buy a hardware kit. This is a Clevis pin kit with 3mm up to 5mm Clevis pins in different varying lengths, and I'll put links for this stuff in the description. And then an M3 3mm hardware kit with bolts, varying bolts and nuts and stuff. I also picked up a 2mm kit also, because you're going to want the small hardware for this. I've been using these Hitch Balls. They're M3 on the bottom. They do not come with nuts, M3 nuts, so you have to get some of those separate. And again, I'll put a link for those in the description. I bought the smallest body clips I could find to use on the Clevis pins. These are, I believe, 1/24 scale, the smallest body clips you can find almost. And they work perfect as clips for the Clevis pins. So up to this point, I've created 4 different inserts for the receiver. Actually 5, if you include that one. We've got the Chevy hitch cover. I painted it with some chrome paint. Small drop hitch where it'll drop. I might make some more drop hitches with bigger drops, and then just a straight hitch, and then a Clevis pin hitch, which is good for things that just have an eye on the trailer. And then I bought, this is a pretty typical 1/10 scale hitch that's commercially available. I think it was $9 or $10, and basically it works like a regular hitch. And you can take this pin out, lift the lock up, and then put the pin back in, and it works just like a regular ball hitch, and then this flips down. And the good thing is that this trailer hitch works with the balls that I just showed, so any of these balls will work, any of these hitches will work on this. I've got the size pretty well ironed out, that these are 8mm square. and this is 8.3, so that they slide in with very minimal play. And then you can line up the hole and put the Clevis pin in. So swap them out if you want. When I don't have a hitch in there, I'll just keep the Chevy cover on it. Now the design of this hitch by Jax's 88, like I say, I just modded it, so he did a good job designing. You can see the front of it is sloped. In case it hits anything, it'll ride up it. So the only thing I haven't done yet is actually tow a trailer. I'm thinking about ordering the FMS trailer or 3D printing one. But it should be plenty strong enough. You can't put a lot of tongue weight on this truck unless you reinforce the rear suspension, maybe with some bigger springs. But so the plastic 3D printed hitch should be plenty strong enough for this size vehicle. Again, you can see scale-wise, it's slightly larger scale, but it doesn't look that bad at all. And it's a lot more practical for getting your fingers in there and getting the pins in and out. I plan to 3D print the toolbox so I can keep all the hitches, various hitches in the toolbox. And the pin I'm using through the receiver is a M3 by 16, and it is pretty much the perfect length. One last thing I wanted to mention, the fixed hitch I print flat like this, and it prints support underneath the extensions here, but it comes out really well, and that puts the layer lines horizontal, which I think is better for strength. You definitely don't want them vertically, because then you have tongue weight trying to separate the layer lines. This one, now this is a busted up one that because I'm taking measurements off it to make a new one for the FJ Cruiser, but I printed, it's out of 45, and you can print this with support touching the build plate, and it will print a little bit of support under the top, but it puts the layer lines at about a 45, which still gives you enough strength, but then you can print it without any support, which is nice, and you don't get any sag inside the receiver, because if you try and print it flat and you don't have support inside the receiver, the top of it will sag and they won't fit in as well. So it's best to print it at a 45. And if you go, both of these files, if you search FMS K10 in Tinkercad, you should be able, they're public files, so you should be able to, if you want to mod these or do anything with them. And if you go into this one and you want to mod it, you can rotate it 45 flat and then do the mods. So just want to add that.